Football is a roller coaster of emotions. There exists a fine line between praise and criticism. It's very much about actuality, and Ronald Koeman's tenure at FC Barcelona has been exactly that, a whirlwind of emotions. Ronald Koeman has done very well in his Barcelona tenure, changing a lot of different things that were not perhaps anticipated when he penned down his contract at the start of the season. The team first and foremost has won a trophy. The squad's mentality has seen a lot of positive changes, the squad looks more happy to be in Blaugrana colors, and the youth players have been given a chance, excluding a certain somebody, of course, in Riqui Puig. Under all of this optimism, however, lies an important layer of pessimistic facts that we must consider. Koeman has been limited when it comes down to the tactics compared to the elite of the coaching world. His in-game management is ineffective, as proven by Barcelona's abysmal record in the big games this season, all of which are components that elite coaches make their names off of. But unfortunately for Koeman, he lacks them all. He lacks absolutely everything that he needs to become a proper manager for a club of this size. Today, in this new episode of Hashtag Unfiltered, we will go down to the wire to talk about Ronald Koeman and his complete tenure at Barcelona, talking about the benefits, the positives, the negatives, and the consequences of his appointment as a manager. We will find out at the end of the day whether he should stay or whether he should leave Barcelona. What's going on, guys? ¿Cómo están? BugaLuis here, and I'm very eager to see you once again here on the channel. This is going to be one of the final videos of the season. As you may have already seen from different posts that I made on Twitter and here also on the YouTube community tab, I'm going to be taking a very quick break after, well, this week so I can finish out my graduation project, well, therefore graduate from university and then come back strolling again for new content here on the channel right before the transfer window, which is going to be like 2 weeks, so pretty much not a huge break like last time, but certainly something enough so that I can get my life straight in the right path. So without further ado, guys, if you want to support me in the last video for the season, one of the last videos, I'm not sure whether I'm going to make one more, be sure to drop us a like, subscribe to the channel, and let's get started with this new episode of Unfiltered. The first thing that I want to talk about in this video about Koeman are the positives, because yep, you've guessed it, it's quite short, it's not that much to talk about. Arguably, the most positive thing that Koeman has brought to Barcelona is a stabilized presence, a rejuvenated locker room, and little to no controversy. That may not really seem like a lot, but for a team that was in near disarray before last August, stability should not be underestimated. Let's remember that Koeman took over Barcelona in a moment where they were disastrous. They just ended up in a humiliating loss 8-2 to Bayern Munich in the Champions League. We had the whole Messi transfer saga that he wanted to leave the club. Bartomeu was found in jail and he was going to be substituted for a new president come in the following month. And of course, we also have to talk about the huge financial troubles and debt that Barcelona found themselves as an institution. A task that for many managers it would have been easy to reject, but here came in Ronald Koeman with an idea, and well, he actually did manage to complete most of it. The Barcelona job in this exact moment was gonna be thankless in many ways. I was sure that when Ronald Koeman took over, perhaps he wasn't going to do the best of jobs, but indeed his presence and status helped transform the team from a disjointed group of players to a unified squad for the very first time in a long time. Under Quique Setién, there were numerous reports of discontent and a clear lack of support coming from the locker room. While Koeman isn't free of controversy, take the Riqui Puig situation for example, he has been a well-respected presence, a well-respected manager who has brought in much needed stability, and that is clear positive when considering that he could potentially renew for one more year. The players want Ronald Koeman, and that is something, like I said before, must not be unstated. Something else that we must analyze with Ronald Koeman at hand is that he managed to win a trophy in his first season, a test that many failed before. Barcelona had an incredible run in La Copa del Rey. The team played with fortitude and a never-give-up attitude that had been desperately missing for the last few seasons throughout the tournament. Without a doubt, a part of that change in mentality has to be attributed to Koeman. This is very important to recall for Ronald Koeman, and we must attribute some sort of respect in that because the manager has been able to rally out players in a way that I haven't seen in a very long time at Barcelona. And that is huge because I've lived one of my best moments in a long time watching games with Barcelona because I really enjoyed because they were fighting down to the wire, because they were running for every ball, and you had to attribute that to Ronald Koeman. But that hasn't been the story in most competitions. And that is where we go to the negatives. When underlining most of Ronald Koeman's shortcomings as Barcelona manager, we end up with the same three things: a lack of tactical fluidity, curious squad management, and ill-planned substitutions. When thinking of giving him a long-term project, these are unfortunately very big red flags. On paper, Ronald Koeman has shown some fluidity throughout the season in terms of changing formations, but that has been severely missing over the last few weeks. When his favorite 4-2-3-1 was not working, he eventually embraced the 4-3-3 and then again stagnated, switching to the 3-5-2. The new formation has provided stability and gotten the best out of Sergio Busquets and Jordi Alba, for example. But even that solution seemed only temporary. When Barca desperately needed more numbers up front or a new approach to counter their opponents, Koeman still chose to stick with the 3-5-2, which was never going to be a permanent solution. The idea behind the three at the back was so that the wingbacks could pressure and join the midfield to win the ball higher up the field. And that on paper was risky, something that Ronald Koeman commented, and well enough, risk started to show. Barcelona have continuously had their initial press bypassed in recent games. From there, it has only taken one pass and the opposition is through, usually leaving it 3-on-3. The first half against Real Madrid at Valdebebas is a perfect example for this, where the Catalans struggle heavily with the fast transitions and long balls from Toni Kroos to Vinicius Jr. Koeman's inability to tweak the system has dire consequences. Having dropped 7 points over the last 4 games, it is a worrying sign that the Dutchman has let it continue for far too long. Simply leaving one of the fullbacks a little bit deeper gives the defense added protection during counterattacks, whilst losing nothing in the press if the two other lines are set up correctly. The solutions are there, but Koeman seemingly just wants to press on his current methods and formation, a setup that caused many problems for Barcelona as a whole. One key concern that the board has expressed when it comes down to this formation specifically and Ronald Koeman is that the 3-5-2 is not perhaps a long-term solution and a formation that Barcelona would like to instate in their play, because as we know in La Masia and all of the other levels in this institution, well, they play the 4-3-3 and the youngsters won't necessarily adapt to that. Seeing how the context and the entire situation of the team with the financial troubles is just very much not allowing Barcelona to sign new players, then the Masia must be a tool that he will utilize. And if the first team is not made adept for those players coming through, is there really any point in having La Masia at all? In terms of squad management, Ronald Koeman has been controversial to say the least. Bad substitutions, he's overworked some players, he's underworked some others, which are all unsustainable things in the long term if we are to renew him as a manager. Positively, he has been applauded, and rightly so, for having given ample opportunities to youngsters like Pedri, Oscar Mingueza, Ronald Araujo, Serginho Dest, and Ilaix Moriba. As such, thanks to Koeman, the future of Barcelona is clearer now than ever. Additionally, his faith in both Antoine Griezmann and Ousmane Dembele has paid off, as the former has 12 more goal contributions this season compared to the last, and the latter, albeit still inconsistent, has shown genuine signs of promise and the wonder kid that we all know that Barcelona signed. Nevertheless, there is also a lot about Koeman's squad management that is unsustainable for a long-term project. As mentioned, he has overworked certain players like Pedri. The 18-year-old has played in a staggering 51 matches this season and has the squad's 6th most minutes played of any outfield player. Pedri is undoubtedly a gem and has shown immense durability throughout this entire season, but being overworked is not a sign of long-term planning by Koeman's part. Furthermore, other players like Riqui Puig, Miralem Pjanic and Junior Firpo have been severely underworked. Over the last few months, Koeman has found his favorite starting 11 and substitutes and stuck with them. Admittedly, Pjanic is not the player he once was, and Firpo is taxed with having to compete with an informed Jordi Alba. Puig's emergence was one of Barcelona's highlights last season, and his presence would have brought the team another dimension going forward, something that once again Koeman didn't even consider. Having a more fully rounded out squad would have helped Barcelona in the present and certainly in the future, but Koeman has stuck with his favorite bench more often than not. However, when he does choose to rotate, it's often ill-timed. In the match against Granada that would have seen Barcelona go atop of the table with a win, he started a backline composed of Gerard Piqué, Samuel Umtiti and Sergi Roberto, who was, of course, out of position. Hindsight is a beautiful thing, and with this one I can tell you 100% that it ended up being a costly decision as the Blaugrana lost at home 2-1. In terms of substitutions, Ronald Koeman has not been positive in any sense, because most of the time when he's searching for a goal, he's trying to just overload the attack with players without not having a methodical approach. Sometimes you need more midfielders to recover the ball easier, so that then you can feed it into your strikers, which are actually doing a pretty good job. Koeman thinks that more attack equals more goals, and that just is simply not the case. And last but not least, one can just not overlook Koeman's inability to guide Barcelona to crucial victories in big games throughout the season. Against Real and Atletico Madrid, Barcelona have won 1 out of a possible 12 total points, their worst performance in this stat since 1964-1965. Furthermore, in their other biggest test of the season, whether playing Juventus at home in the Champions League to secure the first place in the group stages, or playing Paris Saint-Germain in the round of 16, the squad faltered, losing 3-0 and 5-1 on aggregate respectively. In the home stretch of the La Liga race, the team have also won only 3 out of the last 7 games. That is in a stark contrast with their previous 19 matches where they were unbeaten. Under the brightest of lights, the team was consistently outplayed, and Koeman was left second best against opposing managers. Now, he should not take the entirety of the blame, some has to be put on the players of course, but he did not do enough to quell concerns about his tactics and game management. And here's the key guys, the big games are not important because of their magnitude. Sure, beating Real Madrid and Bayern Munich is always a pleasant surprise, but the importance stands with the fact that winning them leads to titles, and failure comes with defeats. This season, that fact is exemplified through Barcelona's performances. You need wins like these to give you the right motivation, a motivation that Barcelona simply don't have. In conclusion, Ronald Koeman's reign as Barcelona manager has many similarities to Ole Gunnar Solskjaer at Manchester United. Both have done their job and have helped their clubs progress. Still, unfortunately, they will always be seen as a small fish in a big pond, whilst other fellow clubs, super clubs, are looking for the best of the best. Koeman has done a tremendous job in turning Barcelona's season around from where it was heading at the start of the campaign. It would be honestly unethical to sack him, but at a club that many see as the biggest in the world, the Dutchman's limited tactical prowess as a coach, failure to adopt the 4-3-3, and results in big occasions are all major concerns going forward. While some believe he deserves another season, many are against that prospect, and I can understand that. I like Ronald Koeman, but I'm not gonna get my love in the way of my club. A few reports are now stating that there will be a decision taken by the end of the season, with a potential new manager coming on and Koeman being sacked. For Joan Laporta, it might simply come down to Koeman not being his man, if we're being honest, and might desire to start his reign appointing a new manager of his choosing. So indeed, overall my thought is that Koeman should be sacked. But like I said before, he does deserve respect. Koeman has done a good job. Koeman has done what he intended to come and do, but maybe it hasn't been quite enough for a club of the stature of Barcelona. That's gonna be everything for right now guys, hope you have enjoyed. Be sure to let me know in the comment box down below if you think Koeman should continue or not. Leave me your reasoning, your arguments. I'm gonna read all your comments, I promise, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care, ciao ciao.